Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today I have two 9.8 comics that I think are great buys right now. So first one, a free comic book day, One Punch Man / My Hero Academia. This one's a pretty great one to target in a 9.8 if you're an anime fan, for sure. And I think, some of the new comic books, I don't know if they're selling that well, and then, a lot of people don't like how they bring a lot of politics into comic books nowadays. But, I think there's an argument out there that anime is still really popular with kids, and maybe that these anime books are a little bit more of the future than comic books are. And, certainly at some point down the line, I could see some, One Punch Man big show getting in pop culture, and certainly that would be a positive for a book like this. So probably some underrated potential for this one. But on the census, into 9.8, 126 9.8s, a 1 of 126. And which is pretty fantastic. I recommended this one off and on over the last year or two, and I remember there were like 60 or 70 on the census then. So yeah, more 9.8s come to market, which is nice to see. 58.9% the 9.8 ratio, so not that tough of a 9.8, unfortunately. But this one's pretty much a book that's come out in the last 10 years, so a modern. Recent prices in a 9.8. A couple great auction prices I think are great ones you want to target for this one. $251.01 and $276.10 were a couple auctions that had went in February. So pretty recently. The most recent one on eBay, looks like it sold for $549.99. I wouldn't recommend paying that much. That could have been where the seller kind of sends an offer to buyers where they're quite a lot lower than what the actual list price is, and then on the completed listings, eBay isn't really transparent with those for some reason. But $251.01, $276.10, I think are kind of price targets to aim for this one, and it's a bit of a hedge, I would say, to like all my 9.8s where they're just all Spider-Man and Batman and everything. Where one or two probably get a manga anime 9.8 in there, and yeah, I do think, One Punch Man is really popular, and there is probably some underrated potential on that one. Okay, next book is kind of completely different, to be honest. A Wolverine 27. Kind of the classic Jim Lee Wolverine cover, in my opinion. This one is super wantable. And certainly, any kind of Wolverine key right now. I think Wolverine keys are cooling off just a little bit. So I'm noticing the Marvel Comics Presents 72 Origin of Wolverine in a 9.8. That one's kind of dipping under 400, where like peak comic book market, that one was like 6 or 7, I think even like 800. That one got really high for like a minute there. But Marvel Comics Presents 72, Wolverine #1, the ongoing Wolverine #1 seems to be dipping in value just a little bit. And even like a Wolverine limited series, you almost can't go wrong with that one in a 9.8. I think that one's kind of around 800 or 900 in a 9.8, maybe up to 1,000 for a nice one. But Wolverine 27, I think, is a really good value among Wolverine key issues for sure. There's 211 9.8s in a blue label, 42.2% the 9.8 ratio. Recent auctions, one sold for $242.50 and another for $275. So that's a really good price range. You get a little under $250. I think that's a phenomenal deal. Certainly if you're a Jim Lee fan and a Wolverine fan. Yeah, I'm just surprised over time that this one hasn't ticked up a little bit more in price. I just think it's a little bit undervalued. 100% cool, especially if you're a Jim Lee fan. So absolutely on the short list of like some Wolverine key issues that you could consider buying, and there's a few other Wolverine key issues to consider for sure. All right, we'll leave it at that. Just two quick picks today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.